Hello everyone, this is Aegon of Astora, and welcome back to my casual playthrough of Dark Souls. This is episode 11, and it is Sunday the 16th of August today, on the date of recording, and I hope that each and every one of you out there is having a fantastic day today. We left off in the previous episode, right where we are now, in Blighttown, and I suppose I should update everyone on the progress that we've made in the meantime. Actually, first, I should make sure that, based on where we're going, that we have some blooming purples equipped. You will notice that all of our equipment has been upgraded. All to Titanite chunk level, that is to say, to the point where we need Titanite chunks to upgrade it further. So we got our Balder Shield to plus 10, our Side Sword to plus 10, our Black Bow of Ferris only up to plus 6. I guess I forgot to upgrade that one, but I also upgraded pretty much all of the weapons that I'm planning on using for the next little while. And so that means that I did do a quick run up to Andre, so as to ascend the weapons that I needed to ascend to plus 6. But I didn't set any bonfires there, I just ran up and then homeward boned all the way back. And in order to do that, I spent a considerable amount of time farming the slimes down here in Blighttown. And as you would have seen, I believe it was in episode 9, or was it? Yeah, it would have been episode 9. Where I was farming or not farming, but I was just kind of walking around. I killed one of the slimes and it dropped 5 green Titanite shards. And you can see we are now maxed out on green Titanite shards, just based on the pretty substantial frequency with which those enemies, the slimes, based on the fact that they drop 5 shards, with some measure of regularity. And so even though we have 99 of them, we actually would have had a lot more, because I think I put 20 or 25 or something in my bottomless box. And then for the last 4 or 5 runs that I took, we no longer actually had space to store them. So we are going to try and give these toxic dart guys a taste of their own medicine, and try to and again, because we have the fog ring, they can't see us at this distance, whereas otherwise they likely would have loaded us full of toxins at this point. And since we upgraded our Black Bow of Ferris to plus 6, and we're using and that's another thing I bought from Andre, some large arrows that we can pretty reliably one-shot them. And it's really nice that the game doesn't force you to actually go over to their corpses to pick up whatever they drop, because they know that these guys they're accounting for the fact that these guys are snipers, and so if you kill them from a distance and they inflict you with toxin, you're likely not going to have much of a chance of going to pick up the blooming purple moss clumps that they occasionally drop, and so you're going to find yourself in trouble unless you have enough Estus to account for that. We have another one over here. And in Dark Souls 1, you do have to angle your shot a little bit, depending on the range of your bow. And you can see that, there's no reason for us not to use the Black Bow of Ferris, because we have the... And in fact, it looks like I put my longbow in the box. And I'm just looking for the range. The range. You can see here, shot range 65. I believe this is the highest shot range of any of the bows, but since I was silly and put away the longbow, we have no basis for comparison, really. But yeah, you do have to angle your shots a little bit, so that looks about right. Actually, I should have angled it much more. So now that we've hit him, you can see us, and we're going to get inflicted with toxin. Yeah, there we go. But that's why we equipped the blooming purples that we got once again, thanks to Bride Nadalia from episode 8 or 9, whom we invaded 3 times and somehow managed to eke out 350,000 souls. And not a single one of them dropped a blooming purple moss clump, so it's a really good thing that we had those on hand to begin with. And what we're here for, of course, is the Firekeeper soul. It's right there. And these dogs, despite their size, do not mess around. So it's always a good idea to take out as many of them as you possibly can before you actually descend. And the Black Bow of Ferris essentially makes this easy mode because you don't have to deal with the worst or the aspect of this enemy that is most problematic, and that is their ability, despite being so tiny, to poise break you. And I think we got all but one. Poise break you, and they also have a fire attack that can do a fair bit of damage in a very short amount of time. But no, it looks like we got them all, actually. So very nice. Firekeeper soul. I think we're safe to look at the item description for that. And yeah, this is the exact same item description. So all the ones that are kind of just in the world that aren't specific to that don't drop from a Firekeeper seem to have the exact same description. And they're all stated to belong to a long-lost Firekeeper. And once again, as I griped about in the previous episode, long lost is separated by a dash and not a hyphen as it should be. But yeah, small nitpick. Okay, so now we're going to continue our ascent through Blighttown and return to Firelink Shrine. We are going to descend further into the Great Hollow and Ash Lake a little bit later on. So we are going to do pretty much everything in this playthrough. I don't know if it's going to be, if you can describe it as a 100% playthrough, because of course there are things like, you know, we decided to just say screw it to the shadow set and the Ayato, just because the frame rate here is just awful. But we are going to be going down to Ash Lake, and we are going to be... Oh, I thought I could one-shot you. I guess not. We are going to be grabbing the... we are going to be going to the Great Hollow. I thought about going there just to grab the Chloranthy Ring, because I don't think we're going to be equipping the Grasscrest Shield at any point, and there may come a, you know, certain boss fight or encounter where we do want that additional stamina recovery. And we did also pick up the key to New Londo from here. I don't think we read the item description for that, so let's check that out. So this is supposed to be the exit. You're supposed to go in, you're supposed to enter Blighttown from the depths, which we didn't do, and then you're supposed to exit out this direction, so... No, that's Blighttown key. Key to the iron bars separating the ruins of New Londo and Drake Valley. The ruins of New Londo were blocked off, for the cursed ghosts pose danger to life and spirit, and the legends speak of a terrible dark which was sealed away. And the terrible dark, that could be interpreted in any number of ways, but I think the most obvious interpretation of that is the terrible dark being the abyss, because as we've seen when we first came down here, yeah, we needed about 3 backstabs to kill these guys, but now that we've upgraded our weapon to +10, a couple of thrust attacks together with the backstab, sufficient to deal with these guys. But yeah, the most obvious interpretation of the terrible dark is the abyss. And as we saw when we were in Darkroot Forest and Darkroot Basin, there are traces of the abyss that remain, as I've argued. It's not canonical or anything, but I do believe someone commented on a previous episode stating that they think that those particle effects in the Darkroot Forest Basin are merely ashes. And I probably should have made note of who made that comment, but I don't have it on my list here for some reason. And the person stated that, you know, if you've ever sat close to a fire, then, you know, you might think that they look rather similar to ashes. And I don't agree with that. I think it's a fair and valid interpretation, but I go camping with my family every year. We're all older now, so it's you know, it's not like a camping, it's not like a family road trip that, you know, where you have, although I do have 2 nieces now who are the cutest things in the world, But for the most part, you know, we're all adults and we just kind of hang out and, yeah, have fun. So I really cherish those trips. But that aside, we do bonfires a great deal of the time when we go camping, and occasionally when we go to a cottage as well. And I don't know, I don't see it. And we're not there right now, so you can't. And see down here, there doesn't appear to be any particle effects at all, actually, which is interesting. And when I did ascend, I sent this elevator back down on my way up to Andre, because once or twice, I want to say just once, but I think it might have been twice, where I was coming back up from Blighttown, and as is my wont, I would generally send the elevator back down when I'm descending to New Londo. And I would end up, and I'm going to, just to wrap up these stories before I go any further, I would send the elevator back up, and then when returning from Blighttown, would just walk right into the elevator shaft and die of falling. And that wasn't particularly fun. There was another occasion where I got inflicted with toxic, didn't have any purple blooming moss clumps, and ran out of Estus very shortly before arriving at Firelink. And I think I got up to right about here, after seeing the Firelink shrine, words pop up on the screen, died of toxic, didn't have any humanity, didn't have any Estus, so that was not fun. But yeah, I go camping with my family. We do bonfires, you know, pretty much every night when we do go camping, weather permitting. And those particle effects don't really look like ashes to me. They look more or less like if you look at the sky when it's transitioning either from day to night or night to day. If you look on the horizon, that color of the sky is almost a pale blood sky in a way, if you're following my Let's Talk Lore series in Bloodborne. But that color really is reminiscent to me of those particle effects that we see in Darkroot. But maybe that's just me. So the reason I wanted to wrap up that story is, of course, that some shit's gone down here in Blighttown, in Firelink. We can see that our Firekeeper is no longer there. We have an item there, and neither is Knight Lautrec. So we picked up the Dingy set and the Black Eye Orb. Dingy Hood, worn by the Firekeeper at Firelink Shrine. It is thought to have once been the white hood of a maiden, but smoke and ashes from bonfires have darkened it over the years. I don't know why the they are versus it is in these two descriptions. It is thought to have once been the white skirt of a maiden, but its true origin is lost in patches of blood. Perhaps its former wearer was maimed to prevent escape? Yeah. That's pretty rough. Black Eye Orb. Where are you? It's the problem when you reorganize some of your inventory is that things no longer load into your inventory in logical spots. Black Eye Orb. A mystical orb found on a keeper's corpse. Invade the world of the murderer of a Firekeeper to defeat the perpetrator and reclaim the soul of the Firekeeper. The Black Eye keeps constant watch on the city of the gods, Anor Londo. So they're giving you another hint as to where it is that you're supposed to go next, because, yeah, Firekeeper's gone, so is the person who seemingly killed them. And it's saying that the Black Eye keeps watch over Anor Londo. So once you try using the Black Eye Orb anywhere else, let's try that now. It actually equipped it for us. Yeah, it's grayed out. So your guy does a little chest shake. I don't know. What do you want me to do with this? And yeah, so you can't use it. But you can in the lead up to the Samoan Ornstein boss room in Anor Londo. Firekeeper is absent, cannot light bonfire. We're not going to talk to Crestfallen for now because I don't want to trigger the next phase of his quest. We should speak to Laurentius.
Oh, hello there. I'm pleased to see you safe. As always, if you provide the materials, I can teach you pyromancy.
I'm not sure. We didn't spend any of the souls we accumulated from farming for this reason, so that we can buy stuff. So, I don't know how much casting we're going to do, but might as well. And might as well upgrade this a little bit as well. We do want to save a little bit of money for the Crestfallen Merchant, so that we can purchase some green blossoms and large titanite shards from him. So I guess we'll leave it there for now.
Goodbye then. Come back if you find anything new.
So another hint, come back if you find anything new. A hint as to what you need to do to progress his quest line. But yeah, we'll get into that later. I do want to say thank you to Jerk Sans Frontiers, who wrote a very helpful comment on, I believe it was episode 8. Let me just double check that. Yeah, episode 8, saying, I'm unsure what you want to do with Laurentius, but his event trigger works like this. Showing up at Firelink with a forbidden pyromancy, anything he doesn't sell, basically Daughter of Chaos / NG stuff, makes him ask where you found it. Refusing to tell him will keep him there, and he won't ask again. But if you answer, he'll disappear after you leave Firelink and wind up hollowed in Blighttown. You can still use him as a merchant after looting that corpse. So yeah, that's what I suspected, and I looked it up on the Dark Souls wiki in the following episode, and was a bit reassured by that. But it's funny that we do have this. I guess it's one of NG's pyromancies that for some reason NG didn't have himself, but that was just on that corpse in Blighttown. And he didn't ask us about it, so that's interesting. So now we find this guy, who scared the daylights out of me during my first playthrough.
Ah, hello. Was it you who rang the bell of awakening? I am the primordial serpent, Kingseeker Frampt, close friend of the great Lord Gwyn, chosen undead, who has rung the bell of awakening. I wish to elucidate your fate. Do you seek such enlightenment? Very well. Then I am pleased to share. Chosen undead, your fate is to succeed the great Lord Gwyn, so that you may link the fire, cast away the dark, and undo the curse of the undead. To this end, you must visit Anor Londo and acquire the Lord Vessel. I am pleased to see you well. Is it something urgent? Those who seek the realm of lords must brave Sen's fortress, a deadly house of traps. Many have gone before you, but none have returned. Fate has chosen you, but proceed with caution. Those who seek fate.
Alright, and so we can feed items to Kingseeker Frampt. And something I always found very interesting about this is how you can seemingly find out about certain things in the game based on how many souls he'll give you for a given item. And I don't think I have any of the items that demonstrate that just yet, but I will a little bit later on. No, I don't. But yeah, that is something that basically anything strongly associated with Seath the Scaleless, he will give you, I believe it's just one soul for. So if you have the Channeler set, he'll give you one measly soul if you feed it to him. And you can also feed him various types of Titanite, and he will give you the Titanite that is one step below that. And since we have 99 green Titanite shards, really no reason for us to not feed some of them to him. And just while I'm sharing embarrassing stories about my first couple of run-throughs in this game, I had no idea what any of this was about. So what I would do whenever I would get Kingseeker Frampt is I would just feed everything that was here until there was nothing left, and then never actually realize until, and I say never, but didn't realize for quite some time that I was actually wasting all of my high-level upgrade materials.
Farewell, chosen undead. I remain here and await thee.
But I never seemed to actually realize that I was wasting all of those materials in such a way that, yeah, I was getting rid of all of my high-level upgrade. And so now I got 70 Titanite shards, so we're sitting pretty there. And yeah, still 91 green Titanite shards. So, but yeah, I made the huge, colossal mistake of doing that a number of times before realizing what the heck it was I was actually doing. But in a case like that, where you have 99 green Titanite shards, really no reason not to. And so now we have a decision to make. We can either proceed to proceed to Sense Fortress, or we can go back to the Undead Asylum. I do kind of want to go to the Undead Asylum, but I do want to have a plus 10 Uchigatana before we do that, actually. So maybe we'll wait. I was about to go back to the bonfire and see if we had enough to upgrade it to plus 10, but can't do that here because our Firekeeper is absent. But yeah, it's fitting that we spoke with Kingseeker Frampt because there was actually a couple of comments I wanted to get to from the Azure End, who wrote, I believe it was on episode 8, and this one's only somewhat related to, or this one's not related to Frampt, but the second comment is. First comment says, you call this a casual playthrough, but I thought your attempt at battling that invader was rather pro. And I'll say what I said in the comments, first of all, which is thank you, that's very kind of you to say. But also that when I say this is a casual playthrough, I don't necessarily, notwithstanding my failed attempt at parrying that guy, I don't necessarily mean that I'm a casual playing the game, but just that it's a casual playthrough. At the same time, I would by no means classify myself as an expert in this game, or as a pro. I'm not fantastic at PvP. I've watched enough PvP and enough PvE where I can do a lot of things just, I guess, through osmosis in a way. And I know a lot about the stuff just because I've played so much of the game, and I have as I've said, watched countless hours of other people playing it. Which is another reason why I have this strong, seemingly urge or tendency to just want to pump out videos right now, is that I got a fair bit out of doing that, of watching videos of other YouTubers, and I guess this is my way of giving back as well.
Well, hello again. You seem to be doing all right. Need anything forged?
I'm not sure if we do, but let's double check. Yeah, we got everything that we had at plus 5 up to plus 6. Do we want to get this? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Because we are going to be able to buy.
Don't get yourself killed. Neither of us want to see you go hollow.
So I'm returning to our episode discussion for a second from, I believe it was episode 4 or 5, the Gaming Memories episode, where I was talking about the things that, I can't remember if I said at that bonfire, so might as well do that. We were talking about the things that won't be a thing anymore once the servers for this game go offline. And you just heard one of those things at the last little bit of Andre's dialogue. You heard a bell ringing, and that's because someone else, who's on, I guess, the same server as me, just rang the Bell of Awakening. And since we were in the vicinity, we heard it as well. Whoops. So yeah, just really cool things like that. And especially when you are helping out players, defeating the gargoyles. You know, get summoned, you help them defeat the gargoyles, and then when you go back to your own world, one of the first things you'll generally hear is that bell ringing, and it's incredibly satisfying. At least for me. So we are going to try and head back to the asylum. Generally not very good at making that jump, so I'm quite happy, quite pleased with myself for having made it on the first attempt. And we did not get that key yet, so we're going to grab that. Certainly would have been better if we had gone back prior to going to Blighttown, because then we would have been able to get our hands on the rusted iron ring, but the stamina reduction trick was very helpful, nevertheless, in conjunction with the fog ring for helping me farm for a very long period of time without really having to deal with any issues. I don't know of any other game where you can return to the tutorial area in this manner and it becomes something other or something more than merely a tutorial area. Incredibly cool. I'm deathly afraid of these guys, these torch hollows, because just because of the number of times they've bested me, and I'm rather embarrassed by it. But we are going to cheese them as we are going to cheese many, many enemies in this playthrough. So once again, casual playthrough. It would be rather silly to call this anything else because, yeah, there's going to be a fair bit of cheese and just having fun. Trolling NPCs as we did with the Dung Pie Surprise in the previous episode. And occasionally trolling on other players as we did to, as I guess we kind of did to Bride and Delia. A counter troll to her attempted troll.
You, give me warm, give me soft.
Okay, so one of the reasons we wanted to return here was to do a couple of trades with the crow. So let's get to it. Make sure that we don't fall off here. You need to make sure that it's right in the nest.
Give me.
Okay, I think that's about it. I did also want to trade the sack that we got from killing one of the female undead butchers down in the depths, but I put it back in my item box for some reason. So that was kind of silly of me, but whatever. That's okay. We do have the weapon we got from killing the Taurus demon, which I mentioned in a previous episode. Not my favorite weapon. I don't like the gigantic hulking strength weapons like that. But we are, and again, Ring of Fog, this guy takes him a while to actually notice us. But we are going to upgrade our, is it Demon Great Axe? It was the Demon Great Hammer you can get from the sack, but I didn't drop it. Or I left it in my item box, so we're just going to leave that. But I do want to upgrade my Demon Great Axe to Crystal once we get access to the giant blacksmith at in Anor Londo. So we're going to do that. But I don't know if I'm going to bother with the Demon Great Hammer. I figured just while I was there, because I did pick up a number of things that I didn't really need. So we can see when we go to return to our cell, there's someone guarding it. Another Black Knight sword. Suppose it doesn't hurt that we have 9 humanity, but... So this corpse here would appear to be someone else who was, put in our place after we escaped. And they have a peculiar doll on their person. It's a key item, I believe. Peculiar doll, a strange doll in a strange dress. There once was an abomination who had no place in this world. She clutched this doll tightly and eventually was drawn into a cold and lonely painted world. I did want to mention before I forget, because I almost forgot already, I knew which items... beyond kind of my own memory, I knew which items to drop for Snuggly the Crow, thanks once again to the wiki.Dark Souls wiki. And it has a very helpful table showing all of the items that you can trade with Snuggly and what it is you get back. Unlike in Dark Souls 2, it's not random. There is in fact a, trade this item, get this item. You can only execute each trade once per new game cycle. We can see here that Oscar, despite having said that he doesn't want to harm us after his death, here he is trying to do just that. So that's why he wanted us to get away as quickly as we could. He didn't expect that we would be coming back. Crest Shield. I've been wanting to pick this up for a while, but only just getting around to it now. Shield of a nameless knight, likely a high-ranked knight of Astora. One of the enchanted blue shields. The Crest Shield greatly reduces magic damage. So that was technically his final resting place, although we did just kind of change the channel on that. I thought he was facing the other way. I thought we were going to be real smart there and cute and sneak up on him, but I guess not. How lucky can one person get over the course of a playthrough? We've been getting all of the really, at least moderately rare drops. Black Knight Shield. Shield of the Black Knights that wander Lordran. A flowing canal is chiseled deeply into its face. Long ago, the Black Knights faced the Chaos Demons and were charred black, but their shields became highly resistant to fire. So it says long ago the Black Knights faced the Chaos Demons. I believe that's speaking in the present tense because it would seem that the Black Knights were once Silver Knights. But they were the Silver Knights, the detachment of the Silver Knights who accompanied Lord Gwyn to attempt to put the Chaos in its place, to fight back the Chaos, and then became the Black Knights. So that's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, now we just have to get the... We have to get our hands on the Rusted Iron Ring. Oh. Completely forgot that that actually happened second time around. Not nice, Mr. Hollow. Not nice at all. I'm really loving the Boulder Side Sword. And so now you'll notice that there are actually two of these Hollow Soldiers here. I need to stop thinking it's Bloodborne with my heals. I know, I'm sorry. I know at least one or two or three of you are out there cringing every time I heal and then get hit immediately afterwards. And because I know that there's at least a couple of you cringing out there while I do that, I'm cringing as well, so don't worry. I am well aware of it. But I have been doing a lot of grinding in the Chalice dungeons for my Bloodborne Let's Talk Lore playthrough. And especially in the Defiled Chalice, where you have half HP, it's really important to stay topped off. So I've been, erroneously transferring that mindset from the Defiled Chalice dungeons over to this playthrough, and I need to be more mindful of that going forward. Rusted Iron Ring. This iron ring was used to shackle the guilty. It is terribly rusted and faintly stained with blood. Those who find this strange ring to their liking will be pleased to find it easier to gain footing on poor ground, such as swamps. So again, would have been very, very useful for us to have had that prior to going to Blighttown, but I didn't want to come back here unless we were able to take care of everything we needed to take care of. And that leaves just one more thing to do, which we're going to deal with now. And actually, now that I'm looking at the amount of time I've been recording, I might have to get to the second comment from the Azure End in the next episode. So even though I said that it would have, speaking to Kingseeker, Frampt would have proved to be an excellent segue into the comment, I don't think we're actually going to get to it today, so I apologize for that. Let's check our rolls. We are medium rolling, okay, there we go. So we just need to get rid of the bow. We do have Power Within equipped. Do need to remember that the two-handed R2, let's have a look. Okay, so that's just a thrust attack. Just quick swing, same thing with the two-handed R1s, yep. The two-handed R2, however, it's a very slow overhead slash. And the rolling R1 Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Rolling two-handed R1, basically the same. Backstep R1, nice little thrust. Two-handed backstep R1. Yeah, virtually identical movesets for two-handed and one-handed, notwithstanding the two-handed R2. So when we picked up the Uchi Katana in the previous episode, I mentioned that it was really good to have on hand for invaders. But I also think that it's incredibly useful to have on hand for certain bosses, that is, the bosses who are susceptible to bleed damage, because as you saw, just as when you're facing an invader with 80,000 HP, it matters not how much health a boss has, it actually takes off a percentage damage. And we're gonna get, as a reward for that, a Titanite slab. And I haven't decided what we're going to use it on. I think we might use it either on the Baldur Shield or the Baldur Side Sword. But it's a very important decision because they are somewhat rare, and I'm sure I will be doing some farming of the Dark Race to try and get my hands on another one. But yeah, because whatever thing you use it on, you're kind of, in a way, committing yourself to using that, at least for some portion, some substantial portion of the rest of the playthrough, so we'll see. But just in case I do use it in between episodes, I should read the item description now, which reads, Titanite Slab. Titanite Slab for weapon reinforcement. Legendary slabs were the domain of the gods. Reinforces standard weapons to +15, and crystal or lightning weapons to +5. Legendary slabs are the heirlooms of a nameless blacksmith deity, who forged the weapons of other gods. Weapons forged with this slab become rare legendary weapons. That they do. And the exit in this place is not immediately obvious. There's a ladder somewhere. Ah, of course the last... Oh, no. I should have cut the episode before doing this. Embarrassed myself a little bit. There is even a torch there to kind of indicate to you this is where you need to go. Just as in Blighttown, and yet I still get lost anyway. But I suppose that's as good a place to leave it as any. So thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.